on stage. This nigga crazier than the shit I got on my head.
Kanye performed 3 songs. Bounce. Bounce on them, yo. Kanye bounce.
Radio, fuck you. Wait a second, you saying, hey, wait a second. Hey, is it radio fuck you? What you saying? Exactly. Now, not fuck the people that work at radio. Cause these is real people that gotta feed their kids. And they not being allowed to play that real shit. Cause they think that in order to feed their kids, they gotta play the same shit over and over and over. I was raised by KRS-One. I was raised by Tribe Called Quest. I was raised by DMX. The last real nigga alive. No, nigga, it's still real niggas alive. We alive tonight, bro. We alive tonight, bro. And radio, and not, and 92.3, and everybody, is it just me, or did you hear that song so many times you sing on red free? And give me the hey, you know what it is though? It's I love Drake.
I thought he was supposed to be doing the show.
Virgil Abloh is alive tonight, bro. A$AP Nas is alive tonight, bro. Marvin is alive tonight, bro. Ian Carter is alive tonight, bro. Rocky alive tonight, bro. Hey, y'all at my show. When I say these names, y'all better scream for me. I don't give a fuck if you know the names tonight. Go ahead, Google them. They will give you a little bit of factual information. They will give you that.
You want to be part of this conspiracy?
Oh, I have a YouTube channel too.
I have so much.
You do? What's your YouTube channel?
I think it's just Kaylee thing.
Just Kaylee.
It's just
We don't got much light.
Hey, so yeah, I am broke. I paid $150 to come to this Kanye concert. I worked 2 jobs. I took off both jobs this whole weekend, and I came to this concert, and it's been probably like the only thing I've been looking forward to this past month. And Kanye went on a rant about like 15 minutes into his show, and he fucking left, and I don't know where my money is.
Why did I name A$AP? And that's the future. That's the niggas that got me and Cuddy on our toes like that. These niggas keeping this shit alive, bro. These niggas keeping this shit alive, bro. It's life. We got 100 years out here. 100 years on this planet, bro. And we can have a utopia. We can love each other. But the rules gotta be fair. Khaled and Drake and radio and Doc and 92.3 and everybody. Is it just me, or did you hear that song so many times that you sing one, baby?
disrespect with saying I'm leaving, the show's over. Like, fuck you. The people who support you, people who buy your tickets and merch are the reason you're famous. And for you to fucking leave like that, no one has respect for you. And once people hear about this, SAC came out even though what happened in San Jose. We all could have been like, oh fuck, he did that, we shouldn't go. But we all came, we all still had a great time. And first he was late. Fuck you for being late. That's disrespectful to your fans in the first place. And then to do 2 songs, 3 songs, and then fucking leave and not even finish them. You look like a piece of shit. And now SAC's not gonna fuck with you. If you see Twitter right now, it's crazy. People who weren't even there are mad.
So when I talk about MTV, let me explain something. I was hurt. Beyonce, I was hurt because I wanted to present a video called Fake. And out of respect, MTV told me, Mr. West, out of respect to you, I will let you know that Beyonce is winning the video tonight for Formation over Hotline Bling and Famous. They told me beforehand so I wouldn't run on stage. Hey bro, y'all ain't gotta fuck with me, but you know I got the vision and you know I'ma keep it real with you. Beyonce, I was hurt. I went down 7 years on behalf of yo, hey nigga, don't throw no shit while I'm talking. I was hurt.
This nigga's crazy.
I have put in my career, my life, my public will standing at risk when I talk to y'all like this. This is a moment in the matrix, bro. The violence is back. The violence is back. Motherfuckers might feel a way about this tonight.
Oh, and so you guys were saying how much you paid for the tickets?
For upper level alone, we're $70, $80 a piece.
We got
very top row.
general admission, so like one of the more like wanted like tickets. Like ones on the floor, you're right, Brandon's thing. You paid like $150 like per ticket. Damn near like 175 after taxes, 175 each.
So
I'm just sitting here to give y'all my truth, even at the risk of my own life, even at the risk of my own success, my own career. I've been sent here to give y'all the truth. JC, call me, bro. You still ain't called me. JC, call me. Hey, bro. JC, I know you got killers. Please don't send them out my head. Just call me.
years ago. You stop and think about it when you started seeing this stuff. To buy these symbols here, you had to go to an occult store. Of course, that was easy for San Francisco. They've always been a little weird. But you go to the occult stores, but you had to prove that you were an initiated witch of a coven before they would sell this stuff to you, and it was made by their coven silversmith. The first one's called a pentacle. If you put a circle around it, it's called the pentagram. It's a symbol of witchcraft. At 1 point up, it's a symbol of witchcraft. 2 points up, like it's showing kind of there, it's the symbol of Satanist church, the symbol of the horn god. You might also notice it's also the symbol of the Eastern Star. We were in San Francisco last night, and in the building that the Illuminati houses the Rothschild's private enforcer, Isaac Bonowitz. He's like a living computer. He's also one of the members of the council that I left. In the store down below, which sells many pieces of occult jewelry, they sell ladies' compacts with Eastern stars embedded in them, with all the little runes and so on. This is called the hexagram, not the Star of David. The Star of David is a name change on it. David was dead and buried when that star was created by a son that had backslid and went into demonic worship. Solomon would seal his documents of war and his occult documents with that thing. They call it the Crest of Solomon or the hexagram. And that's where the word to hex or to cast an evil spell came from. Witches, when they conjure demons, they call the demons up to talk to them in person. This star must be drawn on the floor for the demon to arrive in, or it won't appear. Now that gives you an idea. It's the most evil sign in the occult world. This symbol in various forms means that you're an initiated witch of witchcraft. And if you'll watch television, well, I'm sure you do. If you watch television, you'll notice that many of the television stars are now wearing this symbol openly. Why not? Christians don't know what it means. You also notice it was a sign of the Shriners, too. This one up above is being sold. Oh, well, this one. Oh, well. Somehow, there we go. Maybe now. I don't think it's going to work. There we go. There, we got it worked out. The first one's called the Ankh. They call it the Cross of Life now. It's on it in Christian bookstores and so on. The Cross of Life, or the Ankh, comes from Egypt. Means that you're a worshiper of Ra, the sun god. That's the Egyptian name for Lucifer. So it means that you worship Lucifer. It means that you despise virginity, that you're against virginity, that you practice orgies, and that you believe in reincarnation. That means that you don't believe in heaven or hell, that when you die you're going to come back again, and the Word of God is a lie because it says you'll live once and then judgment. But they say no. The next is the broken cross, the peace sign. Didn't originate in Frisco or London during the peace movement. It's been around a long time. We've heard a lot of cracks about it, you know, the footprint of American chicken and all this type of thing. This is what it is. When a person wants to become a member of witchcraft, and they come from a Christian background, I didn't have to take this initiation because I was born into witchcraft. They're given a cross made out of ceramic clay, you know, baked clay, and it's turned upside down, and they take the crossbars and they break it, forcing the crossbars down and break the crossbars off. And they throw the pieces to the floor and shatter it. And the priest or priestess, whoever's doing the initiation, then announces, you are free from the bondage of the Christian church. And because of this act, you shall have peace evermore. Thus, the peace sign. It's called the broken cross. This one you're not going to find until about a year from now. Anybody ever seen this symbol before? Everybody wants 666. You're right. 666. It's 3 overlapping sixes. Okay, here's where you can find it. You can find it on the world currency printed out of Brussels. We bought $10 billion of it, but our president decided that it's better to go with the credit card than the currency now, so we're not going to use it. You'll find it in clothing and shoes made in the common market countries, in the labels of the clothing. More recent, about a year ago, it was on national television, when the President of the United States, you know, the peanut eater from Georgia, well, I mean, you know, that's about the best I can do for him. I could say more. Said he had personally designed a national security card that would be the answer to the problems in the United States. And that every citizen, law-abiding citizen, would have one of these cards to prove they were a law-abiding citizen. You know, whatever. Then, he got done making his speech, he left, his press secretary come up and says to the newsman, here's a picture. Now, for some reason, with all the flashbulbs popping and stuff, that card This picture never got printed in the paper. I don't know why. Maybe they decided it was a bad move. But in the center of the card was a pearl white glossy card, computer plastic type. In the center, in kind of a gray with words written over it, you know, but in the background, you know, like a watermark, was this emblem. Welcome to the last generation. They're putting their forces together. Now, if you've been going to the grocery stores and the department stores, you've been noticing the new computer cash registers. You know, one shopping step type cash registers, and you put your card in it and ring up the purchase, and it does all the business for you right then and there. Well, all the stores are supposed to switch over to them, and the little poorer stores are supposed to get the little phone unit that hooks into your phone, and you zip the card through. This is all supposed to happen in the next year, right on time schedule, just like it should be. Then, things will be a little different around here, because by then they plan on destroying the money that you have. And then you'll have to use the card, because the money will be worthless. Now, if you think, if you've been noticing all the television commercials, security is the word that everybody's been using on television commercials. Prepare for the future, pack up for security this and security that. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to wipe your security off the face of the man. I'm going to destroy that microphone before it's over. Now, if I'm stepping on your little safe world, I'm sorry. I'm trying to tell you something in advance. And I'm going to give you a reading list so you don't think I'm the only nut in the world. The first book is None Dare Call Conspiracy. I'm going to give these quick and then I'll take a few questions. We've got a few minutes and that's it. The next is the Rockefeller Files. And the last one is Jimmy Carter, Jimmy Carter. Now, those can be found in most bookstores. They're by Gary Allen. But I recommend one that you find in the Christian bookstore. It's called The Day the Dollar Dies. You might decide to invest the financial money that you're saving in your savings account that'll be worthless before this year is out in the work of God. I'm serious, it'll be worthless before this year is out. This time next year, the time schedule they have, I'll give you a few events. I'm not prophesying, I'm giving you physical knowledge. You may think I'm crazy. They thought I was crazy back in 1972 when I said we were going to have a fuel shortage. They thought I was crazy back in 1973 when I said watch for the coal mines to close. So you may think I'm crazy, but next year, when it's all happening, at least I told you in advance. You got a little bit of warning. There'll be 10 million people out of work this time next year. Now that's when our welfare system, unemployment system, and Social Security system goes collapse, because it won't be able to handle that many people out of work. And you may want to go home and pray and ask yourself what this country's going to be like with 10 million people not eating and not having any money. And then you may want to pray that a lot of souls get won and Jesus comes quickly. I know I'm going to. Okay, I'll take some questions and answers.
I'm not going to do what I usually do and really pick on the Masons tonight. I'm just simply going to read from two books of theirs, and I'm going to let the Masons draw their own conclusion. That which we must say to the crowd is, we worship a God, but it is a God that one adores without superstition. To you, sovereign, grand, inspectors general, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degree. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degree, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Abaddon, now before I go on, I want to say Abaddon is found in Revelations for you students of Revelation as the keeper of the pit, the demon over all the rest of the demons. Would Abaddon, the God of the Christians, whose deeds prove his cruelty, profanity, and hatred of men, barbarism, and repulsion for science, would Abaddon and his priests culminate him? Yes, Lucifer is God. Thus the doctrine of Satanism is a heresy, and the true and pure philosophical religion is the belief in Lucifer, the equal of Abaddon, Jesus Christ. But Lucifer, God of light and God of good, is struggling for humanity against Abaddon, the God of darkness and evil. They're calling Jesus Abaddon. They're calling Lucifer everything we believe of Jesus, and Jesus everything we believe of the devil. And that's in one of their own books. Now, when the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of its craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy. He must follow in the footsteps of his forefather, Tubal-Cain, who with the mighty strength of the war god hammered his sword into a plowshed. Now, when I was saved, I complained. Well, no, what am I saying when I was saved? I didn't find this out until I was saved. When I was in the occult, I complained at our council meetings because the 33rd Council had so much power, and I felt it was unjust because I had proven myself so greatly to Lucifer, you know, witches are very proud people. And I complained that they didn't do the same thing. Now, we really didn't know what the Council of 33 did, or what their rights were, because we were occult and they were Masons. When I got saved and saw this, I found out they did do the same thing. The warrior on the block right, remember I said they must prove their ability to properly apply this energy? The warrior on the block right is human sacrifice. They did do the same rites. The very leaders that lead the Masonic belief, remember they said of the high initiate, they laugh at the Blue Lodge and those below them because of what they really know and who they really worship. Go with me to the back of that purple sheet to political organizations. Okay? The Trilateral Council and the Council of Foreign Affairs. There's two separate blocks there, and it shouldn't really be. You can leave it this way. The Trilateral Council is the brain center of the Council of Foreign Relations. Every man in the Council of Foreign Relations and every man in the Trilateral Council believes that Lucifer is God Supreme, has declared it, has taken a vow of secrecy, and has dedicated his life to seeing that Adam gains the world. Our president is a member of the Trilateral Council, and that is a well-known fact for people who dig into politics. So don't anybody tell me how great a Christian he is. Now, let's go over to the all sheet, to the Sphinx, and we'll go on with something else. And the idea of taking over is to bankrupt the whole world where nothing is of any value and the currency does not exist anywhere, and then come back and solve all the problems. I heard the Gaithers, which are my favorite group, recently on a record in a live concert. The guy was talking about the energy crisis. He says, it's funny, it doesn't matter if it's the Republicans or Democrats. They get elected, they cause us problems, and then solve them so it looks like they're doing something.
First-class United States Army. I had a secret clearance with nuclear surety. I could get the clearance that I needed to do whatever it was that was necessary for me to do at the time on special operations when I was called in on those. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers, for lack of a better term, debris thereof. There were bodies that were involved with some of these crashes, also some were alive. While we were doing all this, we were telling the American public there was nothing to it. We were telling the world there was nothing to it. But the whole situation is, we've set back, we've told the American people that there's no such thing as UFOs.
You told us you traveled, thousands of light years to get here. Yes. Tell us the truth or the word will never win. It is truth. I fall off.
I was at the White House with my family, and we were getting a tour, and Barack and Michelle and Sasha and Malia,
nice.
And it's me and Jada and the kids, and we're walking through the White House. And the night before, Jaden had said to me, Dad, I got to ask the president about the aliens, I was like, dude, no, it's not cool. No, Barack is talking about this situation wrong. And Jaden says, excuse me, Mr. President. And I was like, hey, Barack, man, hey, listen, Jada. And Barack said, don't tell me. And in perfect form, like, this is why he's the president, he stopped and looked at Jaden and said, the aliens, right? And I was like, oh, shoot. And he said, okay, I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of extraterrestrials.
This amazing footage was discovered by Scott C. Waring and posted to his blog UFO Sightings Daily. The video shows a large crowd of people recording a UFO flying over Guangzhou, in China. In the video, a man and woman in a car come to a stop as they are heard saying it's a UFO in Chinese. The woman then says to get out and to record it.
I've been involved where we have recovered these objects we know them to be of extraterrestrials. In 1969, I had an event that happened to me while I was stationed at Fort Lee, Virginia. We went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. That would be my first exposure to any time that we would be recovering an unidentified flying object. Later on, most people involved were to be told that there was nothing on board it. It was nothing more than just a crash of one of our aircraft. I know better, because I was one of the people that approached it with a Geiger counter to get surface readings. I was the first person to go ahead and see that there were bodies on it. That would be the first of approximately 12 events. UFO crashes are not events that take place every day. They're rare.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? So we're human. Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now? How?
The disclosure legacy, the president that makes, the first head of state that makes the announcement that the extraterrestrial presence is real is one of the greatest political legacies of all time. I don't care who you are, period. Right? You go down in history. For 1,000 years it'll be talked about. Right? That's the most profound event in human history, and you are the head of state that let it out, the one that brought the truth to the world. That legacy, that is a very desirable legacy, and they want it.
How about we concentrate on your time? Try me. Wait, so you know the meaning of what? What's the difference? So you know how the universe is created? So you think God?
I know we're not alone in the universe. I know that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's evidence that has been denied to the American people.
not a great legacy. Nobel Prize, first black president.
Chump change. Chump change. First black president, how many black heads of state have there been before Obama entered the White House, right? Right? His legacy as the first black president was over the moment he lifted his hand off the Bible at the inauguration, right? It's chump change. As far as some of the other stuff, nothing serious at all. This legacy is massive, right? And I assure you, it is incredibly desirable.
Illuminate us. What happens when we die? So, let me get this straight. There's no death, and we all experience each other's lives, right?
However, because you have just triggered the most profound event in human history, more profound than the coming of Christ. Supposedly, God sent his only son down to the earth, right, to bring a message to the people. And he comes down, and over a very long period of time, he sort of, actually a couple of years, he does his teachings. He gets crucified, and that sort of launches the Christian religion, which takes hundreds of years to develop and start affecting worldview. That was the Christ event, which has almost 2.2 billion followers. This event will affect thousands of times more people and do it in days. All right. In other words, the worldview of humans will be affected worldwide within a week because this event is that powerful. So it's much bigger than the Christ event. So if you think being Jesus Christ was a big deal, being the disclosure president, a big...
Give us information to the young people of the world in this country. They want to hear it. They want it. Give it to them. Don't hide it and tell lies and make stories. They're not stupid. They deserve it. It's their information. It doesn't belong to the Army or the Department of Defense. It's theirs. If it's classified, take the classification off and give it to them.
So, how was the universe created, and why is it so perfectly made for us?
Why don't we see more videos of it? Because it takes a brave person to post something unknown on the internet that might get you and your family arrested in China, since the Chinese government probably considers such videos to be top secret and a threat to their national security.
So, why do we destroy ourselves with nuclear war? Can you be more specific, please? What about morality? What are you basing your morality on?
It's finally out, and it's just going to keep spreading. And so this idea that you can pretend that you never were involved in it and those documents don't exist, it's over. It's simply how long can you continue to do your thing before you finally have to answer the door? And what I'm trying to say is that they're about to answer the door.